My topic for a controversial speech would be the death penalty, known as the capital punishment. Now, should it not exist or should it exist? That is the question that I'm asking today. The quote for the speech would be by Nancy Reagan, the late wife of the late Ronald Reagan, which was one of our presidents back in the 90s. Now, Nancy Reagan said, "I believe that there would be more people alive today if there was a death penalty." Now, the death penalty is currently legal in the U.S. It is used by 29 states, the federal government, and the military. And those 29 states also include like Georgia and Florida. It can be traced back to as early as 1600s. Even before that, 1400s. Now, it didn't become a law until the 90s, 1990. So even though it didn't become a law until the 90s, they had practiced it way before that. The U.S. is the only developed nation that practices the death penalty regularly. Now, as I said before, that the first death that they practiced in the 1400s was a spy for Spain, found in the U.S. His name was Captain George Kendall, that was like the 1460s, I believe. Now, they practiced it in at least 5 different ways: by lethal injection, electrocution, hanging, and firing squad. So 4 ways. Like each state uses it differently. Georgia only uses lethal injection, while Florida uses both lethal injection and electrocution. And Utah actually uses the firing squad only if electrocution will not work out, which is less likely. Now, there's 2 sides to this. It should exist and it shouldn't exist. The government, so on the shouldn't exist side, people who say it shouldn't exist think that the government shouldn't have power over a human life. They shouldn't have that much power. I mean, like, they already have all these laws. Why would they have power over a human life? And they're being treated like animals. And they also say that life in prison is actually harsher than the death penalty. Now, people that say it should exist would be loyal taxpayers, don't want to pay for people in prison who've done horrible things, like murder their favorite congressman or something. They shouldn't be able to stay in jail, because the loyal taxpayers, they pay their way. I mean, believe it or not, the taxes that you pay go to the prison. And they go towards electricity, beds, even food sometimes. And they just don't think that's right. Okay, now, it says people get time in prison for doing something bad, and then when they get out, they also do something bad again. So they just don't want that to happen. Do something bad twice. And it, I don't know, it gives them, but although it shouldn't exist, it gives them a second way of life. Like if they want to change their life around, And there's so for the death penalty, there's only a few guidelines. Well, actually, there's more than a few. But if you put them together, it's murderers of certain people, of important people, per se. And I read that only rapists of babies get the death penalty. So, I mean, I don't know. But treason, genocide, the killing of a group of people, but I don't know, should it exist or should it not exist? I mean, whatever. I don't care. My side to it, I think it should exist. I think that it's way more harsher, and people may be afraid of doing that one act of raping a baby because they might get killed instead of life in prison, because life in prison is not that harsh to me. I mean, I've never been in prison, but it just doesn't seem that bad. You still get to live your life and breathe.